Hey everyone, thanks for joining us again on the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I'm your host, as always, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you for joining us on this episode and our over 235 episodes on our way to a total of at least 300 episodes or by the time calendar year 2025 does conclude. We have had a real whirlwind of, uh, let's say, the last 6 months. There's just a flurry of activity, of positiveness, of being a a voice uh, through so many lenses, and that's really what is it's important for our organization, and to be able to share that with you, to bring different perspectives, different topics, and just talk about them, have real frank discussions, and share that, because uh, I feel, as well as our board of directors, that we want to we want to we want to leave this world in a little bit of a better shape than when we uh, when we came to it, when we were, uh, I mean, not just born, but when we were able to, uh, start to pick up on what's happening. There's uh, so much troubling activity that goes on a daily basis, and we do talk about that. We do talk about the hard stories, the hard experiences, uh, to be able to help you, to help someone in need, someone who may have gone through a similar situation, uh, know somebody who has, and just maybe for awareness. And I think that's a good thing, to have more information than we really need. And in that sense, we're able to, add these tools to our tool belt, that if we need them, if we identify them and say, oh, I heard this, or I saw this on the Voices for Voices show, maybe we can approach it in a little bit of a different way. And society has really become, let's say, a true crime society, a society that is overwhelmingly interested, can't get enough of true crime, real cases that have and are going on. And so we talk about some of those trials, and that are going on. We talk about, missing individuals, like a missing child, like Sebastian Rogers, who's gone missing, and he just happens to have lived near one of the biggest human traffickers in the world. And you know who that is. That's author Bryan Davis. Uh, and so we reach out again to authorities to do the right thing, to investigate this individual. Uh, and if you don't, then you're part of the problem that we have, of sweeping things under the rug. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. that Hogan's Heroes back in the day show. I see nothing, I know nothing. Uh, and we can attribute that to a lot of things, whether those are relatives in high places, whether there are people that are being paid, which we know happens. We've talked about this at length with human trafficking survivor David Solomon, who was trafficked by human trafficker Bryan Davis, who, among other things, uh, is given money hand over fist to individuals to make David and his family's life a very hard place, reaching out to doctors, paying them so they won't see David and his family, reaching out to attorneys, reaching out to law enforcement, reaching out to family members, banks. Uh, and that makes things very difficult. And we talk about, society, and it is a darn shame that a human trafficking survivor like David Solomon and his family aren't able to get the health care that they need without being followed, without, again, the doctors being paid off, that, uh, hey, let's subscribe this particular thing. Well, this particular thing may be an allergen to David and his family. So, who, especially a doctor, takes that oath of helping people? Uh, how can a doctor in their right mind do that? Well, they're doing it because they're being told, and they're probably being threatened by Bryan and his cronies that go out and do the dirty work, and that's a shame. It's a shame that prisoners, uh, individuals who have illegally crossed our United States of America border, wherever that may be, whether that's the southern border, the northern border, illegal aliens, they're able to get this, not the same, they're able to get better health care than a human trafficking survivor. Let's say that again. An illegal alien who illegally, not legal, illegally comes across our United States border at one point or another, Eagles Pass, what have you. Uh, they're able to get better health care than a human trafficking survivor and a prisoner is as well. So I hope your mind is blown as much as mine is, because that does not make sense. That shows that our society and our organization has really, from day one, talked about issues like this. Mental health isn't, the sexiest thing to talk about. Uh, people doing the wrong thing, knowingly being paid off. Uh, we've gotten, all kinds of just negative comments, people just being mean. Uh, well, this is part of it. We have a we have a family of which one of the members is a human trafficking survivor, and they not only have to worry, he and his family not only have to worry about finding a doctor and doctors that will treat them, but then also won't be susceptible to being paid off, uh, or being prescribed something that they're allergic to. And all these things that are done kind of from the shadows. And a society like ours, it is absolutely 100% ridiculous that a human trafficking survivor has already gone through trauma that none of us, a lot of us will never, ever, ever understand. I still don't understand uh, all the traumatic events that this human trafficking survivor has gone through. And so, our society talks, big game. We have these organizations that talk a big game. Uh, but what are they doing? They're not doing a whole lot. You reach out, you get a human trafficking case number. Okay, well, I need help because my security is being threatened. People are looking for me to do harm to me. And what do these organizations say? Oh, reach out to law enforcement. Reach out to this organization. Uh, well, in a perfect world, all law enforcement would be on the up and up. They would really be trying to help people. And there's a lot of law enforcement. In our organization, Voices for Voices, we support our men and women in blue, our first responders, all the individuals that put their life on the line. What we don't support are individuals who lie, cheat, steal, doctor up reports, get rid of reports. So nothing is done. And and so when a human traffic survivor is being told, "Oh, reach out to law enforcement," well, the same law enforcement that won't admit that there were police reports, uh, which are out there and that are real, and they say, "Oh no, we don't know anything about this." Uh, that's pretty interesting. That's not pretty interesting. That's a lot interesting. And so we talk about this topic, we talk about this topic, we talk about this topic, what may seem ad nauseum, because we as an organization, we have to advocate for people that are being wronged, people that, we support individuals who have, gone through the judicial process if they've done their time. Uh, we don't like the acts that they do, but the individual, may be able to be resuscitated and given a second chance. So that's on one side of the thing. On the other are the individuals who are doing things knowingly. Society has known, law enforcement has known, and it is a hard thing to watch and listen to these experiences, to these harassing calls, harassing texts, harassing emails, harassing interviews. Uh, it is just a darn shame. And so we're reaching out to the law enforcement, the good law enforcement individuals. We're reaching out to the White House, to President Trump, the Vice President J.D. Vance, First Lady Melania Trump, Second Lady Usha Vance, uh, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Attorney General Pam Bondi, uh, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino. We know you're doing great work. We support and fully are behind the efforts. We're seeing uh, great work being done. And then we understand and know that this subject is being looked into, and we thank you for looking into this subject. And as we've mentioned before, there's the Epstein saga, there's the now Diddy saga, and we, among thousands and thousands, if not millions of people here in the United States and across the world, believe there should be a Bryan Davis saga, because this individual has caused harm to not one person, not just David Solomon, thousands. And this individual doesn't just, play nice, like he mentions, oh, we watch Netflix, we did this, we did that, but they don't mention all the bad things, being raped and tortured, uh, not being fed, just all kind of things that I can't even fathom a person going through. And so that's why I can't fathom how this individual has for many, many, many years. Because as we mentioned, this David Solomon human trafficking, uh, that was back in 2012. We're in 2025. What the heck's been going on for the last 13 years? We know there's been reports, police reports. We know people have been reached out to, from local law enforcement to state law enforcement to the FBI and above. And that's why we're pleading, President Trump and your administration, please look into this further. We have a human trafficking survivor, and where there's one, there's two. Where there's two, there's four. Where there's four, there's eight. And we get the picture. And so we refer back to earlier in this show where we talked about it's easier for an illegal alien who crosses the border into the United States and a prisoner to get health care both safely and securely. And that is fundamental to US citizens. And yeah, there's paperwork, social security numbers, right? Those have all been changed. Uh, we talk about reaching out to the banks. Well, you, your social security doesn't match out, so sorry, we can't. You can't purchase a home. Uh, we talked about the medical. Oh, sorry. I know we saw you today, but we're not going to be able to be seeing you in the future. Here, reach out to our network. You can find somebody else. And I hope you're seeing what is so wrong with this. And I say, why do they keep talking about this? Because nothing is being done about this. Nothing. A person, a family is in grave uh, harm, and not a darn thing is being done. And President Trump, we know that this is one of your big initiatives, helping children, uh, taking human trafficking rings uh, and blowing those up and ending that and arresting and deporting and a lot of these initiatives. And we thank you for this opportunity to have you tune into our show. It really humbles us that we have that visibility. And there's more. There's others out there. There's senators. There's House of Representatives. And we thank you for all the work that you're doing. Uh, we just find in this true crime society we live in, where people are so enamored with trials that we have, again, at least one human trafficking survivor that should not have to live the rest of their life in fear and not able to get medical care and not able to purchase a house and having royalties stolen uh, from them for the work that they have done. Uh, and then we did, right? We talked about the Reimers fraud, who unfortunately a lot of individuals in the U.S. government and across the world, and just individual celebrities that uh, have been duped by this Reimers fraud. And so there's this individual, Stephen Reimers, who is the stepfather of David Solomon. And so Stephen Reimers goes around asking for money, telling David's human trafficking story. And the human trafficking story is right. It's correct. It's a fact. It happened. What isn't a fact is the money that is donated to Stephen Reimers does not go to David Solomon. It goes to Stephen Reimers and who knows who else, but it's not going to David Solomon. And so that's why we call it the Reimers fraud, because this individual, who we also believe is an agent of the government at some level, and we uncovered this based off of a LinkedIn profile and a public website. So this isn't something that, we did a undercover type of work to do this. That's not the case at all. We found that information that this individual is an agent of the government, and so senators, maybe even presidents, vice presidents, members of the cabinet over the years have been duped. They've donated thousands of dollars. One uh, recently we were made aware of was 7,000. Another one we were made aware of a couple months ago from a senator, a U.S. senator, it was $30,000. And so again, this individual, Stephen Reimers, is going around uh, telling the story of David Solomon's human trafficking. And so individuals, and we're grateful that there are people that are listening and watching. Thank you for that. But if you have given money to Stephen Reimers under the pretense that that money is going to David Solomon, we're sad and sorry to tell you that it hasn't, and it's not. That Stephen Reimers is holding on to that money. It is not going to David Solomon and his family, but like it should. Uh, so we ask that this is also looked into. Anybody, president, vice president, senator, House of Representative, cabinet member, uh, average human being, entertainer, usher, Justin Bieber, uh, then the list goes on. I think even Bob Iger of Disney was asked for money by Stephen Reimers, uh, telling David Solomon's human trafficking story. And David does need support. He needs also security and safety for his family. He needs medical care. His family needs medical care. Those things are not happening. And so we plead to uh, anybody out there that is able to help, not Stephen Reimers, but the actual person and the family of David Solomon, to help them navigate through life, from safety, from security, from uh, yeah, I mean, safety and security is a big ones. Healthcare is also big. And again, Bryan Davis, we know you're paying off people. We know you gave an offer at least once to Stephen Reimers for 2 or 3 million, and it might have been two different times One was an offer of 3 million and one was an offer of 2 million. In any event, you offer to give that amount of money to Stephen Reimers and who knows who else. Uh, that if the individuals accepted that money, that they would give David over to Bryan and his cronies. Something's wrong with that, isn't that, folks? This isn't something that uh, it's really not very complex. It's pretty basic what's going on. And maybe I'm not explaining it the best, uh, and that's what we're trying to get better at. But we're just keeping it real. And so this episode has really been it's been hard to do, having kind of a front row seat to a lot of this uh, abuse, this this individual who's profiting, taking royalties from an individual. We just think that is it's unacceptable, it's un-American, it's illegal, and we know that we know that there's good law enforcement, good people in our U.S. government that God willing, will help this situation. And that's a big reason why we've undertaken it, why we spent so much time, so many episodes, so many interviews on it, because right, we're talking about human beings. We're talking about leaving the world better when we leave the world than when we kind of came into the world, when we came to be able to start to understand those what's going on. And this is one way where we can do that. We can arrest somebody, have them face justice for their crimes, their past crimes, their current crimes are going on every single day. Every homeschool convention, any other convention that accepts Bryan Davis's uh, author Bryan Davis, author Brian Allen Davis, author Allen Davis. He switches his name just as we change the days of the week. Um, and any of you, you've we've warned you, we've shared it so much that by now that if you allow Bryan Davis to come to your convention, to take his money, to have a booth, to have his uh, to give him an opportunity to speak, to be a keynote speaker or a breakout speaker, breakout session speaker, uh, or again, just letting him have a booth and sell books that have been written by individuals who have been human trafficked and are being human trafficked. And I think that's big. We know money is the big thing, the big daddy here. It's all about money. Doctor gets paid off, they change their mind. An attorney paid off, change their mind. A banker gets paid off, change their mind. A family member gets a payoff. Then they don't care about their family or people that they know. And for Stephen Reimers to go around and pretend that he's getting these donations and that they're going to David Solomon, who endured this trauma, well, he's having to endure even more trauma now because it seems like nobody cares. Nobody at high levels doing what they should be doing. And maybe things are going on in the background we don't know about, which we know that there's a lot of things that we don't know about until they happen. And so we, hope and pray that, uh, again, President Trump, thank you for, taking a stand with the Take It Down Act, turning that into a law, signing that. That's a huge way of helping people when it comes to those deep fake nude photos, that are out there, of holding big tech accountable and also holding individuals accountable who, uh, do the despicable thing of taking photos and turning them into something that they're not. So again, we plead for, intervention. We plead for help for David Solomon and his family, and we thank you for joining us on this episode. Whether this is your first or you've been with us all the way since the beginning, can't do this without your support, your love, and your interest in Voices for Voices. A lot of exciting things to come, and you'll find out, uh, in due time. But let's rally around human trafficking supporters. Let's rally around people who've been through horrific trauma and help them get the safety, the security, the health care, the legal backing and support. And let's put the people who have made their lives a living hell behind bars. And so until next time, we thank you for joining us on the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder, and executive director, Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. And please be a voice for you or somebody in need.